Thank you very much for inviting me to the International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Speech Technology organized by the Indira Gandhi Delhi Technological University for Women. Thank you, Professor Amita Dev, Vice Chancellor of the university, and other members of the organizing committee for this opportunity. I personally don't work in the AI ML kind of areas, but I am a nanoelectronics engineer, and being part of administration now and at IIT Delhi, I am also following this field very closely, and I also believe that this is one area that can significantly impact India, the AI ML kind of areas, if we do it right. Now, India has also made a transformation from an agriculture-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. Thanks to the IT, the information technology is the place when we actually did that. And IT, we are now a world leader in IT, and India's IT exports in 2019 are as much as Saudi Arabia's crude oil exports. I think if you look at the numbers, they are similar. I think we are doing very well in the IT sector. Even in the biotechnology, we have done very well. After IT came the biotechnology, and in biotechnology, as we all know, India is a world leader in vaccines and manufacturing of drugs and all that. I think that's again a good thing that has happened to the country. And even in nanotechnology, we are doing very well. We are ranked third now in the world for knowledge generation in the nano area. I think that's a great opportunity for us to capture some of those markets. There are at least a dozen startups right now in the country in the nanotechnology space, which is a good sign. I think some of them I am sure will do very well eventually. And also, the after nanotechnology, I would place the cognitive technologies where all AI sort of areas will come in. In cognitive technologies, there is a good quality work happening. And in fact, if you look at the data, India ranks fifth in the world when it comes to the citations to our research. So there is a lot of knowledge, high quality work getting done in our computer science departments primarily. But using that knowledge, for wealth, translation of that knowledge to wealth is one thing. And also applications is another thing, because computer science departments tend to focus primarily on algorithms and on the core AI development. And for applications to become visible using these algorithms, I think we need to bring in the biologists, we need to bring in atmospheric scientists, we need to bring in electrical engineers, medical doctors. All of them need to become part of those teams. At IIT Delhi, we have taken a step in that direction. We have formed a school of AI, and that is where we are bringing all these people together so that we can focus on the applications in this sector. I think after cognitive technologies, we are already talking of the quantum technologies. India has launched a major mission for the quantum technologies. I would also think that's another area where India can do well in the future. So I think our knowledge economy, to me, is going to stand on these five pillars: the IT, BT, the biotechnology, the nanotechnology, the cognitive technology, and the quantum technology. So these are the five pillars on which our economy is going to rest now, and I think there is a huge opportunity for us to grow in that space. If you look at the AI, which is the topic of this conference, I think there is going to be a major intelligence explosion. I think the humans, evolution takes a long time. I think it will take millions of years for us to, for our brains to evolve further. But computers are doubling their capacity, their capabilities in a matter of 2 years, 3 years kind of a thing. I don't think humans will be able to compete with the computers anymore, and that knowledge explosion is bound to happen. And it's all a question of how do we harness this knowledge and for the human benefit. I think is something which we need to do through careful planning, whether it is policies or procedures or whatever we need to do. I think we need to do that, because otherwise, that power in the hands of a few people who don't seem to subscribe to the conventional wisdom, the ethics, I think can be very detrimental for societies and for the countries. And in another thing, it also the jobs and AI. I think this is something which sees a lot of debate now. That is a major worry everywhere. But if you have noticed, some jobs have already gone away. If you look at the medical transcription kind of technologies, the kind of jobs, they have all gone away. Now AI assistants can actually do the medical transcription. You don't need a human in India to be doing medical transcription. And I would believe all these call center jobs also will go away in about a few years time. I think the AI assistants will take over the call center jobs too. And I think that is bound to happen. But in my opinion, if you ask me, I think we should not be protecting the jobs. I think you cannot do that, because the technology will eventually play its role. You cannot protect the jobs, but we must protect the workers. I think that is very important. And to protect the workers, the reskilling is a very important aspect. I think as a country, we need to launch now, many more initiatives involving our academic institutions in order to actually protect the workers, the reskilling aspect of it. I think that at IIT Delhi, we have taken major steps in that direction. I think we need to do more and more. If you also ask me in terms of jobs, I think the narrow AI is not going to cause much destruction. But AI that learns, the AI combined with the machine learning and data science technologies, I think can cause a major destruction. And that is where I think government policies, that is where the reskilling, that is where the role of academic institutions will become very important. And I think, like I said, the jobs will go away, but we need to protect the workers through all of these reskilling kind of measures. I would also think that the AI impact will be over one generation. I think they will see that generation will see a significant impact of AI, and they need to do a lot of relearning. And I think our curriculum, all of that, need to be now adapting to these rapid changes that will take place in the AI area. Short-term courses offered to people who are the working force right now. I think these are also very important kind of requirements that we have to keep in mind. And so therefore significant reskilling will be required. And I would also think all the routine and generally labeled as data jobs will all be eliminated. The front desk jobs will all go away. And like what we have seen with medical transcription and call center kind of jobs. And therefore but the jobs that require creativity, I think, will survive. And so therefore if you are not creative enough, Google will replace you. I think that is the bottom line, and that we need to be doing. And also the risky jobs, the jobs which require the mining workers, or the jobs where people need to work near nuclear reactors or radioactive materials, those jobs will also be taken away by AI, which is good. I think that is how it should be. The medical jobs, the doctors, I personally feel, at least in the near future, if I have to give an example, a radiologist will not lose his or her job, but a radiologist who cannot use AI will lose his or her job. Therefore, reskilling the radiologists with AI, ML technologies is going to be very important, and that is how it is going to be in the future. The medical doctors who cannot make use of who cannot make use of these AI technologies will be losing their jobs. But I think the AI technologies can also help make these medical services reach the remote areas, and that is again a huge opportunity for the country. And I think we must also embrace it with open arms from that point of it, because the diagnosis will all be in the AI domain in the near future. Defense is one sector where we will see a huge impact of AI. Today, the drones, for example, you are using them for combat operation, but in the future the drones will also perform the kill operation. So therefore I think how you train them, the ethics become very important. When these drones start doing that, I think rogue countries with these technologies can play havoc, and that is where the international partnership ethics are going to be very important when it comes to the future kind of warfare. Ethics therefore are important, and that is where the gender diversity is also important. The decisions that we take now with a on the roads by a conscious kind of a mind is what will be now taken by machines. So in an autonomous vehicle, in case of an accident, that split second decision is taken by the autonomous vehicle will be guided by an algorithm. Now, who is coding that algorithm needs to be very carefully decided. And if there is not enough diversity put into that, I am sure you will see a pattern of deaths on our roads if you leave it to completely the AI kind of machine. So therefore, ethics are very important, because you are coding your conscious now as an algorithm, and a lot of things need to get into when you are doing that, in terms of diversity, in terms of cultures, in terms of ethics, and anything that you can think of. Therefore, it's going to be very, very important. And I also feel AI only being done by computer scientists will not take us anywhere, and AI needs to be now being done will needs to be done by our humanities departments. It needs to be done by our neuroscientists. It needs to be done by people from very different kind of disciplinary training, and that is when things will happen. And from an institutional point of view, which is something which we are doing at IIT Delhi, I think increasing PhD students in AI is very important. Diploma courses, short-term diploma courses where people can retrain themselves in the AI area is very important. Industry collaborations and collaborations with medical doctors, collaboration with agricultural scientists are going to be very important. And even augmenting our computational resources in the country is going to be very important. And we need to also work on India's specific AI challenges, whether it is autonomous vehicles, which may have 90% efficiency on the American roads, but when they are deployed in India, might start with a 30% efficiency. And there is a huge opportunity for autonomous vehicles to work on our roads. And a lot of new technologies, new algorithms, new ways of coding will get into this sector. The Indian language processing, considering the diversity, is again a very important area. Agriculture is going to be very important, whether it is weather forecasting or early warning of diseases for the crops, or even pollution monitoring. I think all of these are going to involve a huge AI, which is an opportunity for us. And I think even improving the manufacturing, the efficiency of our small and medium scale sectors, I would believe is again very important for India. And India's economy is in those SMEs, and that is again AI can make a huge impact. The healthcare, reaching to the communities who don't have access to healthcare is very important. I see a huge opportunity. I think instead of making policies to protect jobs, we should make policies to protect the workers through reskilling and other kinds of activities. And it's an opportunity, and we should not miss on this. Considering our strong emphasis on the IT kind of a sector, I think transforming to AI is possible for us, and we must do that consciously, effectively, at a scale which can have a huge impact. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you for inviting me for this event. Thank you very much.